That's about all I can really offer at this point in time. Any questions?
I have a question. Mr. Kaler mentioned 8 days for a boat. If
it can be less, depending on the temperature and the humidity. But from what I saw on the websites, is even in the best conditions, that these creatures cannot survive on a trailered watercraft for more than 10 days.
sitting out in the air.
Sitting out in the air, yes.
However, the last lake that I'm aware of that was infested, and it's in California, down by San Luis Lavar Reservoir, was infested, according to the Department of Fish and Game, by a tackle box. Now, I have no clue how they figured that out, but that makes it an almost impossible thing to try and inspect. We're now worrying about tackle boxes. So it wasn't too much of a stretch for us to say, well, there's no way we can effectively prevent it from getting there. We need the public to help us out.
And Mr. Chairman, the only way that the mussel has spread to the western United States, short of somebody's tackle box, is through trailered watercraft. Right. Somebody had to have had a trailered watercraft that came from, well, the whole emphasis for a long time was the 100th meridian, to stop its infestation at the 100th meridian. Somebody had to have taken a trailered watercraft from an infested water, around in the area of the Mississippi River, and taken it to Lake Powell and dropped it in the water, and done it in a relatively short period of time.
And I should say, too, that the mud snails have been found by Guerneville by some biologists. I personally wouldn't have a clue what they look like.
Yeah, and that's the New Zealand mud snail that we were referring to earlier. Okay. So this is not the only mollusk species that's becoming a freshwater invasive species that we're going to be dealing with.
Okay. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you. Mr. Dillabo, what would be the impact to salmonids and the issues we're dealing with in the Russian River and the flow questions and Lake Mendocino? What do we have any information on that?
The short answer is no. We don't have enough information on it yet. It seems to me if these things can reduce the oxygen level, as they say it will, that will obviously have a huge impact on the salmonids. But I don't know if there's been any serious studying by anybody on this yet.
Okay. Well, it does make sense to me to look at the tri-county situation with Sonoma County, Mendocino County, and Lake County. So the action that's before us today is to approve creation of the Stakeholders Committee. Is there any objection to that? I think it makes sense to do it on a regional basis and with all those stakeholders, and probably several more than what's listed there. So to County Council, do we need a motion to approve this formation, or just a consensus?
Well, you're going to have the CEO's office actually put together the group.
Right.
Then you can do it by consensus.
Okay.
The only difference between Lake County and Sonoma and us is we don't have any water.
Well, as a point here, is from talking to Lake County, that one of their biggest stakeholders is the Yolo County Water Agency. So in many ways, from my contacts in Lake County, really Mendocino and Lake County have much more in common with their water issues than we have that divides us.
Okay. Is there any opposition to forming this Stakeholders Committee? Okay. I see unanimous approval and consensus to do just that. So Mr. Mitchell, I assume, will be handling this in the future since Mr. Kaler is moving on. So congratulations, Mr. Kaler, and thanks for bringing this forward.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, sir. I do have one recommendation, and that is I'll have one person at least. One recommendation. I have one person at least 80 to 90% devoted to this, and that is we start communicating with everybody who's anything to do with the Russian River and potentially the Eel River as well, because it's going to take a massive effort to try and slow this down.
Yep. Okay.
And we'll be happy to host anything you need.
One comment, and I wasn't going to say this, but I said on your presentation that Humboldt County is dealing with it, I mean, is to keep it out of Ruth Lake by they're not allowing out-of-county boaters there. There's boaters from this county go up there every weekend. I don't know. Apparently their signage isn't working. So maybe you need to include Humboldt County because they do have the interaction of boaters. Whether they might have a sign saying you're not allowed, but I know a lot of boaters that go on a regular basis to Ruth Lake.
From talking to the people at the Humboldt Municipal Water District, what they were doing is they were starting to organize an inspection program. So what could have happened is they could have gotten their inspection program going, but they did have an active program this last summer where they were trying to limit people that were launching their boats that were from outside Humboldt or Trinity County, and they actually do have an ordinance that says that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to take up the CEO's report next, and just go right down through the list and do some housekeeping.
In the interest of time, we're going to pass today.